There are three young quarterbacks who quarterbacked their team to 3 big L's, and now we're starting to have some questions on different levels about all three. The Dallas Cowboys, I think, is the one we discuss the most. The Rams is the one we blame on the quarterback the most. And the Chiefs is the one where we give them the pass because, well, they were so explosive offensively last year. So it's easy to talk about Dak, who wants a new contract, Pat Mahomes, who's expected to get the biggest contract ever, and Jared Goff, who just got a new contract, and focus solely on them. But as we get ready for Monday Night Football, and we watch Matt Stafford, who's played hero ball and to limited success with Detroit, we watch Aaron Rodgers, who's really carried his franchise many a year. I would love to sit here and say it's all about the quarterback, right? Because it's easy for us to discuss. Yeah, there's 11 guys, but it's easier to talk about the guy who has the ball. Cowboys don't have Tyron Smith, don't have Lyle Collins, and Randall Cobb was inactive during the game. Plus, Amari Cooper got hurt in the first quarter. Now, were they ready to play? No. Were they sharp? No. Was their offense a little lame in terms of the play calling compared to the first 3 weeks against putrid competition? Yes. But Ezekiel Elliott's only averaging 67 yards rushing over the last 3 weeks. All right, over the last 3 weeks, 67 yards rushing. This is the guy that they moved heaven and earth and paid more on some level than any guy who's ever played the game at that position. Do we think that not having training camp has affected him? Maybe some. That his offensive line not opening holes for him? That feels like a lot. And the quarterback not being a big enough threat to take a guy out of the box, I think that affects it as well. We'd like to put the blame on Dak. We've told you time and again that Dak is not the focus of this offense and that he needs the protection of the offensive line and the play action of the best running back in football. He's not getting either. Then you take away Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb, and there you go. We can blame, Jared Goff for losing the Bucs game. He did have 3 interceptions and a fumble. He wasn't good enough, but he was under constant duress because his offensive line has consistently rated out as one of the worst in the NFL. True, they lost to the Seahawks, but their kicker missed a 44-yard field goal that he put his team in position to win with. Meanwhile, he didn't have Todd Gurley yesterday. His offensive line is in shambles. The defense can't stop the run. They're 20th in rushing yards on offense. And remember, they let Roger Saffold and John Sullivan walk in free agency. And, of course, they lost Joe Noteboom in the first quarter yesterday. Notice the trend here? Offensive line suffers because you have to pay so many star players. And guess what? Your run game suffers. And when your run game suffers and your offensive line suffers, everything else suffers. Even the Chiefs, right, who lost a hard-fought game to Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Remember, they had to jettison their running back from last year, who led the league in rushing. Eric Fisher and Greg Snott out at least 4 weeks. Tyreek Hill was out last week. Sammy Watkins was out yesterday. Damian Williams has been limited in the last 2 weeks after missing weeks 3 and 4. They're 24th in rushing. And they've lost 6 fumbles, 5 of them in the last 3 weeks. Oh, and that defense we thought was better? Not really. 28th in total defense, 30th in run defense. When you're a 30th in run defense and you've allowed the most first downs in the NFL, what does that do to the offense? Kills its rhythm, keeps them off the field. Then you limit their production, taking out the fastest player in the NFL in Tyreek Hill, and the amount of times you can run the football, and the amount of time you have to throw the football because the offensive line and running issues, and there you go. Like, it's almost never just one issue. It's almost never just one issue. Right? Things are a lot more complex than just how we look at it linearly. Last week, there was a lot of discussion about China and the NBA. And I get people in my position, it's really easy for you to go like, hey, man, you comment on all this civil rights stuff stateside. Why not China? It's so much more complex than we're giving any sort of credit. It's not our culture. It's not our Constitution. And though we want to make it our fight, it's not. And, oh, yeah, by the way, in the world of business, there's like 2 or 3 markets that are growing. Everything else tapped out. And China is the biggest one. 1, they got the most people, and 2, they actually are kind of becoming capitalists now, so they have money. China and Turkey, and that's about it. Lots of money and lots of people. And so the idea that we can think linearly, hey, civil rights issue, it's in China, NBA player, NBA GM, we should be able to, like, no, there's a lot more to it than that. It's a lot more complex than that. Yeah, we're in a trade war. Yeah, it's 10 to 12% of the market, but also it projects to be even more in the future. While all the other markets are shrinking. You know, there's a reason that the NFL is going there, that baseball is trying to go there, that football is going there, that basketball continues to go there. Duh. That's where the money is. Darren Ravel told me that tweet, in terms of value, could hurt the NBA immediately in terms of $300 to $400 million. Now, in a $7 billion business, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And remember, that's a growing market, not a shrinking market. So you can tick off Birmingham. That's not a growing market. You tick off China, you got a bigger problem. Much bigger problem. But that's the same in terms of the NFL. Do I think Dak Prescott is great? No. Do I think he can bail the Cowboys out when they have all those issues the way that some of the great quarterbacks can? I do not. But like, look, Teddy Bridgewater's playing really well. Why? He's got a good offensive line. He's got the best or second best running back in football. Everything else is coming together to make him look better than he is. And one of the best head coaches in the NFL. Right? So I do I want to blame and say there's flaws with Mahomes? Okay. Has Goff not lived up to his contract? Probably not. But 1, you paid Todd Gurley, so something had to suffer. You paid Aaron Donald, so something had to suffer. The Goff contract hasn't really gone into effect in terms of really hurting them against the cap and who they're going to get. If you can't run the football, if you can't protect the passer, you can't play in the NFL. Just can't. So I'd love to just blame the quarterbacks, but it's not just the quarterback, stupid. It's a lot more than that. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus everybody else who's awesome here on Fox Sports Radio.